UFC 318. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Also note, I'll be live for the entire card, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion, and let's get into the first fight of the night. The ladies start the card off as Carli Judice versus Nicole Caliari. I have been picking Nicole Caliari as an underdog to get the win. It seems like I'm definitely in the minority of the community with doing so. I've seen a couple people in the chat talking about they agree, but the majority of you guys like Judice, the style on her from the outside. Now, I do think Judice is a decent southpaw. Solid, rangy striking, and seems to have pretty good timing on her shots, specifically a decent jab, following a nice straight. And obviously against Yunesi Dubin, she had the sensational highlight reel knockout where she looked like a terrifying striking force to be reckoned with. But I'm still not like, oh shit, at 26, she's going to just blitz through Caliari, who's got double or more the fight experience. Gave Ernesta Karashkeda all she could handle in a split decision loss. Judice also in a split decision loss with Karashkeda on the Contender Series. But I feel like the levels are a lot closer than like the odds have it. Both are prospects at 125 pounds. Now, something that like jumped out at me all week was 5'7" to 5'3", 68-inch reach to 62. Granted, we saw Caliari close the distance relatively well against Ernesta Karashkeda, and I don't think it's an impossibility that she does the same here. But, you know, range is a factor, and we'll see when we, get to the face-off and look at them side by side, and we'll see if that holds true. I'll tell you this. I think Nicole Caliari can close the distance better than people are giving her credit for. I do think she can land some big boxing combinations on the inside. I think in the yellow and the red zone, mid and close range, Nicole Caliari is going to find some punches on Carli Judice. I won't argue that Judice from distance is better, and we're also in the big cage, so she will have a lot of availability to move. But I think Caliari can turn this into a hell of a fight. I even think she could be the one to time key takedowns. I see it as a competitive decision. I see it as a back and forth 29-28. I was surprised by how wide the odds were when this fight was booked off rip. I was like, what? Caliari looked really good in the debut, and now she's a huge underdog here against Judice, who, yes, is coming off of a highlight reel knockout, but it's against Yunesi Dubin, who had a big KO against Clark on the Contender Series, but unproven outside of that. Caliari looked good against a nasty kickboxer in Karashkeda, who gave Carli Judice a damn tough fight and beat her. I think this is a lot more of a 50-50 for sure, but I am thinking that Caliari can eke by. Now, to be fair, when you look at one thing, what does that say? Lafayette, Louisiana. We're in the fucking States, all right? Louisiana is the state we're in, all right? So, obviously, the Caliari from Brazil going to be at the hometown or home state disadvantage against Judice, and expect crowd pop to favor Judice if she has moments, as opposed to on the flip side, not too much, maybe some boos for Caliari if she starts finding success, like especially a takedown. Nonetheless, I think it's going to be close, and I think Caliari can eke by in a competitive-ass decision. I still think Caliari's got skills. I'm not writing her off as a prospect to watch. She's absolutely stacked with muscle and jacked. You can see the breast implants because of the weight cut. I have to just say it as it is. I didn't notice that until right this second, looking up close. But biceps are on point. Muscle is definitely there. She's in great shape. Judice on the other side, if you squint, that's Holly Holm. Is Holly Holm got a daughter we don't know about? Because that is exactly what Carli Judice vibe is. This is like Holly Holm's daughter we don't know about, man. Let's look at the face-off between the two. And this is where we got to talk about the issue with the stats. Now, to be fair, Judice had sandals on, okay? And Caliari had shoes on. But the height difference is about 2 inches there in the face-off. They are listed at 5'7" to 5'3". That's not a 4-inch height difference. At most, it's a 2. Could be a 1.5. Of course, the arm length is a factor, but these fucking measurements, man, they're not even reliable because you end up seeing fighters where you think, yo, there's going to be a crazy height difference. What? They look almost the same damn height. I think Caliari's live in this fight. I think she can close distance and land hard shots. I think she could drag this fight to the ground. I think it's going to be a competitive ass back and forth. I'm saying 29-28. I'm going to say Caliari on a split decision, but expect a fucking nail biter. Odds for the fight, they're wide. This is stupid. Minus 430. Judice is 4-2 as a pro, and she's a 4-1 favorite here. I'm not understanding why Caliari is getting so heavily disrespected after a good debut, even in loss. At open, she was plus 190. That's something I can agree with. All right. That's still too wide, but all right. Minus 430 for Judice. I think it's a competitive one. I'm saying over 2.5, check, minus 220. Split decision, live, plus 400. Caliari decision, plus 425, live. Caliari split, very live, at plus 1,200. Most significant strikes, Judice 4-1, Caliari plus 300. Most takedowns, Caliari minus 325. So they're admitting there's an availability for takedowns. They think she'll get no control time. Over 59.5 significant for Caliari. I feel like she could. I say yes on that. Spread on Caliari plus 105. I think she's live for it too. I think she can make it a competitive fight and be within the margins. I think she could lose 29-28s across the board at worst. Maybe even win on one card if it's worst case scenario. But I think she can win on 2 judges' cards. I think the Caliari spread, like betting side, if you're like, yo, I don't really want to touch Caliari's money line. Well, I think she can make it competitive. I think the over hits. I think that this fight is back and forth. I think it's live for a split. And I think Caliari is, at the worst, live to win a round. But I'm going to pick her to win. Obviously, she's a huge underdog. My God, 23%? I guess that's not awful. 23% on Tapology. I feel like she's being overlooked, man. I feel like she's being overlooked. I watched Judice here against Karashkeda. I watched her. I've seen all of her. And yeah, she's good. But Caliari is too. Caliari's good too. So weird to see odds like this for a matchup that the level is similar. I don't understand. I don't get it. Caliari's got a definitely well-built frame, and I don't see her getting chinned here. I think she's going to make it a dogfight, and I think in a competitive fashion, she can pull this one off. I'm going to go Caliari split decision. Definitely a nail-biter. Definitely a fight. Seemed to be going long. Poised to go distance. Next fight. Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVey. So we have the debut of McVey versus the 4-2 in the UFC, Bruno Ferreira. I'm picking Bruno. I feel like McVey, he's kind of getting screwed off a debut. I mean, he's getting the chance of a lifetime, you could say, but this is a crazy jump. He goes from fighting 4-1 fighters, 3-2, 7-13. Hey, now we're going to give you Bruno Ferreira, who knocked out fucking RoboCop. We're going to give you Bruno Ferreira, who just submitted Armin Petrosian. We're going to give you Bruno Ferreira, who's rocked Abus Magomedov, even though he lost, he still rocked him. I'm going with Bruno Ferreira, but I see the height difference as a factor. 2 fights in a row, we're talking about height difference, and we'll see the face-offs. I'll tell you, the heights are more legit in this matchup. The argument I have towards McVey getting caught with a punch is Ferreira has a proven track record of knockout power. He's got big overhand shots. On top of that, being 5'10" and McVey 6'4", though the distance striking is advantageous towards McVey, I would not consider him a master of long-range striking. I would not consider him a guy that can pick people apart for 3 rounds on the outside. And then knocking Bruno Ferreira out cold, I get it, Nursultan caught him, but that was a perfectly timed punch. That was early in the career, and that's Nursultan, who's got like 30 fights, only 6 pro fights for McVey. McVey's got a tricky submission game, and I'm picking Bruno. The odds are really wide here. But I'm talking about this fight like it's more of a 50-50 because it's still a fucking fight. You know, the odds have you thinking one way or the other, like, oh, it's not even a match. No, it is. But Bruno Ferreira cracks big power shots, and I think he connects on the chin of McVey, potentially hurts him bad. Live for a club and sub, live for a knockout. A Ferreira inside distance makes a lot of sense to me here. The worry is the height difference. Now, I think McVey, with the length, could throw from the outside, but on the flip side, I could see him getting caught with shots over the top. Chin comes a little bit high. He's confident and undefeated, and sometimes that confidence can actually get you caught with big shots. He hasn't been in a fight in the UFC before. This is the shot. Welcome to the UFC. You're fighting Bruno Ferreira on a pay-per-view. I think Bruno Ferreira wins. I'm going Bruno. McVey looked like Sasquatch on the fucking scale. Long ass hair, flexing out. Listen, he's definitely in shape. Bruno Ferreira, little cinder block head, built like the true essence of a fucking short stack. Necklace Bruno Ferreira, just thick boyed up. Listen, I think that'll aid to his submission defense because McVey's got tricky subs, but I don't see Bruno getting caught in a sub. Now, the height difference is crazy. Check this out. Big height difference between the two. McVey just way taller. Looks like fucking Sasquatch here. But Bruno with big shots over the top. McVey on the thinner side. Slimmer neck. Chin there to be cracked. Not a ton of head movement. I feel like Bruno Ferreira is going to drop some hammers on Jackson McVey. And I think he's live to put him to bed. I'm going Ferreira to get the hand raised. I don't think it's crazy if Ferreira pulls off like the shocking submission, but first instinct is Bruno Ferreira by KO. I see him clipping McVey over the top with thunderous punches. Both guys like to finish. Both guys come to fight, but one is proven in the UFC. One taking a massive step up in competition. Minus 600 for Bruno Ferreira with Jackson McVey sitting as plus 425. Really big underdog status for McVey. I do believe that the side of Bruno Ferreira wins, but, you know, shitty line. Minus 350 would be a lot more fun. The over 1.5 is plus 195. So if it goes long, you get plus, but nah, it's live to finish in the first round. Anything interesting here? Prop betting, anything? My God. Ferreira, most even strikes, minus 285. Ferreira, most takedowns, minus 200. McVey, most takedowns, minus plus 160. Ferreira, over 19.5 significant strikes, minus 115. Can McVey take a punch? It could end quick, man. Could he land 13.5? Absolutely. But it's a scary one because there's real power with Bruno. Minus 500. If you think the fight will go a little longer, the over on significant strikes for McVey seems kind of live. Because I could see him landing like 20 to 25 strikes, even if he gets finished in the first round. I feel like he can land something. But you never know with those significant strikes. The stat counters are not even that accurate. Bruno Ferreira by knockout. I think he wins. I think he chins. KO for Ferreira sitting at minus 150. Submission is better at plus 235. He could grab a sub, but KO makes more sense. I'm saying Bruno Ferreira knocks Jackson McVey out. It's live in the first round. I guess we'll look. What's KO round one for Bruno Ferreira? Out of just curiosity. Plus 145. Ferreira first round minus 145. I think KO in round one is live. But McVey's a young, unbeaten prospect. So we'll see how the chin holds up. Obviously, a lot of question marks, but definitely the evidence points towards a win for Bruno. The, inside distance would be the best call, but you're not going to get a good line on that because he's expected to finish because he's, only winning fights by finish normally. Pick Ferreira for the W. Next fight on the card. We got Ryan Superman Spann versus Łukasz Brzeski. I have been picking Ryan Spann to win throughout the entire week. I don't think he sells in a matchup against Łukasz Brzeski. Spann's got pretty good timing on his power shots, and he's an athletic striker with solid speed, especially for the heavyweight division. He's explosive. He's got a good right hand. His grappling skills are nice as well. Submission threat. And does some explosive blitzes of multi-shot combinations that I think could be effective here against Łukasz Brzeski. Brzeski's an okay boxer. I mean, he's not bad with his hands. It's not emphatic or anything like that. Doesn't have a lot of power, but still can connect. 1-5 in the UFC. So I really think Ryan Spann is in a bit of like a setup matchup against somebody he should squash. Ryan Spann lost the heavyweight debut to Waldo, who then went on to beat Spivak and is in the top 6, top 7. Now, he takes on Łukasz Brzeski, who's one of the worst heavyweights on the roster. I think Ryan Spann should clap Łukasz Brzeski within the first round, probably. I feel like Spann could put him to bed because Brzeski keeps that head on the center line a lot. And even though at times Spann overthrows shots, he's still connected on Waldo a bit. I think he's going to connect on Brzeski, but I also think he could submit that Brzeski too. Ryan Spann brings a dangerous submission threat to this fight. And I feel like Łukasz Brzeski is just outmatched in all areas. He kind of is just like an average, tough brawler type. Whereas Ryan Spann, I mean, he's had some emphatic wins. Obviously, he's 1-4 in his last 5, and it hasn't looked good. But, a loss to Waldo at heavyweight is not the end of the world. He did have that quick sub of Ovin St. Preux. I feel like Ryan Spann beats Brzeski. I think he's live to knock him out, man. And Zechiku KO'd him in the first. Mick Parkin KO'd him in the first. Spann probably knocks him out in the first too, but because of the unorthodox submission threat of Ryan Spann, and if maybe Brzeski tries to shoot or something like that, if you're getting clobbered, there's a chance Ryan Spann surprises and pulls off the submission, but I think he destroys Łukasz Brzeski in all areas of fighting. This should be a lock. There's Brzeski looking kind of like he just, drank a beer before this. Looks a little bit bloated in the center, man. Brzeski with the front double bicep. I feel like he's just coming to fucking get chinned. That's the vibe I get. There's Ryan Superman Spann. He's trying to channel some Kimbo Slice energy. Rest in peace to one of the legends of the game, all right? He's got the do-rag on. He's flexing it out. He seems ready to go. Seems like we got confident Ryan Spann. He thrives in squash matches, and that's exactly what this is. There's the face-off between the two. Similar statures. Ryan Spann actually heavier. Come on, man. Spann just looks a lot more legit even at the face-off. Spann should destroy Łukasz Brzeski. I think after the fact, we might look in the fight and think, oh, damn, the odds could have been 6-1 because it's not wide. Minus 250 for Spann. He opened up at minus 286, so the lines have actually come down a bit. I feel like Ryan Spann's a lock here. I get it, he's inconsistent, but against a 1-5 in the UFC Brzeski, get the fuck out of my face. He's not losing this one. Under 1.5, minus 170, probably. Spann inside distance, minus 180, yes. KO plus 150. Submission plus 220. Let's look at Ryan Spann's last 5 wins. Submission, KO, submission, KO, split decision. So we're split on finishing results, right? 2 KOs, 2 submissions. Both are live avenues for Ryan Spann against a Łukasz Brzeski. Brzeski, he's been getting KO'd a good amount lately, though. 4 knockout losses. He's been looking bad. I feel like you have to favor towards the KO based on the evidence of Brzeski just giving up knockouts and seeming a little slow on the feet. I feel like he doesn't bring his hands back that quick either. I feel like you're going to see a lot of big shots land for Spann. And Spann probably puts him away in the first round. I can see Brzeski just crumbling to the floor. But there's like that back of my mind thought, well, Spann's submission game is legit, and he could strangle Łukasz Brzeski. It should be Spann all day. It should be Spann probably in the first round. He should clap Łukasz Brzeski with relative ease. What is Spann in the first round? Not even good. Plus 135. The pick is Superman Spann. I think he handles Brzeski in this matchup. Minus 250. That's a money lineable parlay piece. And I feel as though I get it. Spann has sold in other fights, but Łukasz Brzeski is low caliber. I get, oh, will he beat Walter Walker? Yeah, but Walter Walker was fat back then. I'm going Spann. Spann to dominate. Spann to destroy. And Spann to finish. Next fight on the card, we have Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. So my pick here has been Jimmy Crute to pulse through all week long. I think he wins this thing. Jimmy Crute's got a big grappling advantage over Prachnio. That's where I really think he could shine in this fight. As far as in the striking realm, Jimmy Crute has good boxing. I would say Prachnio is going to be a bit better with kicks from the outside, but he also has a like goofy boxing style where at times he's throwing like awkward and out of position shots. You can call it herky-jerky and say that it'll work for the net positive of Prachnio, or you can look at the other side of it. Crute's going to be able to land some big counter shots, and I think as Prachnio's overthrowing, Crute's going to be able to time takedowns, get the fight to where he's most comfortable, and show his class jiu-jitsu. Jimmy Crute's bread and butter of his game is he's known for having a really nasty submission game, and I get it. In his last 5 fights, he hasn't found a win. He's 0-3-2 in his last 5, which is pretty bad. But all things considered, he did win the first round against Bellato in dominant fashion and rocked him after, beating the shit out of him with some ground and pound. Granted, Bellato put himself there, but Crute reacted well. Going for the finish, thinking he's getting him out of there, and then kind of selling in the second and third, and then losing, or rather drawing on the majority decision and, letting the win get away from him. I feel like this is a very winnable matchup, though. Crute's hands can work in this fight. I can see Crute stinging Marcin Prachnio with big punches on the feet. I can see Crute punching him up in close range, maybe even hurting Prachnio at some point. Prachnio's kicks are nice, though. We saw him land that kick from the inside on Bukauskas. That was high level, but I see Prachnio on his back struggling with Jimmy Crute, you know? As much as his stand-up game's a factor on the ground, Crute's a lot better. So I think, go towards the path of least resistance, and that's Crute from top position. We've seen Prachnio submitted, and I think that we're going to see him submitted again here. So I'm going Crute to win via submission. I feel like that's the call. Prachnio looks fucking crazy. I don't know. He's just got those fucking, what is it, the 1,000-yard stare or something like that. Then we got Jimmy Crute looking in shape, ready to rock. Still only 29 years old. Jimmy Crute's got some fight left in him. It ain't over for Jimmy Crute, man. It ain't over. Now, look how dark this image is. Darkness around this fight. Weird. It was just a dark shade on this fight. And I think it's because Jimmy Crute knows. This could be it. A loss for Jimmy Crute. I mean, it could be, fucking time to hang it up for real. He's 29 years of age. He's fighting a 37-year-old with clear vulnerabilities. Jimmy Crute should fucking mollywop Marcin Prachnio. And I'm picking Jimmy Crute to win this fight by submission. He's going to finish Prachnio. And don't be shocked if he hurts him on the feet too. Crute can win this fight in all aspects. Where he gets caught with something stupid is distance striking. But Crute should be able to close that gap, punch hard on the inside, and even get to fight to the ground because he's going to be a lot better at jiu-jitsu. There's a clear grappling and wrestling edge for Crute. On top of that, I think he's a better puncher. Crute is minus 335, fat favorite. Prachnio plus 275. Let's look towards some of the props here. So, under 2.5, minus 160, probably. Crute to win inside of the distance, minus 145. I think he does win inside of the distance. Crute to win by KO is plus 300, and Crute by sub is plus 155. You look at Jimmy Crute's resume, you see 5 KOs with 4 submissions. It's kind of crazy, right? He's known as the jiu-jitsu ace, but got a knockout ability for sure. I think he's live for both methods. So inside distance is better, but it's not plus money. I feel like he could lock up a sub, man. Plus 155. Prachnio getting submitted, in his last 2 losses? I feel like he's live to get sub, but then he's also had 3 KO losses in a row. I favor Crute in all areas. Crute by KO is interesting. The striking, he just flatlines Prachnio with a punch. That's not crazy. I think Crute absolutely handles business. Most takedowns, Crute minus 1,000. Most significant strikes, Prachnio minus 150. Give me Crute at plus 120. What the fuck? The spread on Crute, minus 190. I think the spread hits. I don't think this is a close fight. I think Jimmy Crute beats the shit out of Prachnio, and I think he finishes him. So inside distance, the spread, Crute landing more significant strikes. Maybe you're going Crute by submission, or maybe you're chasing the KO, but the odds aren't great. I do think Crute has this fight in the bag. It's more a matter of how, not if. I'd be very impressed and surprised if Prachnio wins. Let's keep moving. Next fight on the card. We got Adam Fugitt versus Islam Dulatov. I've been picking Islam Dulatov, the prospect, all week long. As we all probably have, Dulatov is a very aggressive striker who throws a high volume attack at his opponents. He's coming off a very nasty elbow KO on Contender Series. And I feel like Dulatov has that legit pay attention to this kid ability. Nasty on the feet. Submission threat on the ground, hype for sure. Now, I will give credit where it's due. Adam Fugitt's 2-2 in the UFC. He's won UFC fights. Absolutely fraud-checked Kinoshita when Kinoshita was supposed to be pretty good. And then he's coming off a split decision win with Josh Quinlan, who I don't think is very good. A little bit over a year ago, too. Fight before that, Mike Malott subbed him up, and then he was knocked out by Michael Morales. I think Dulatov is live to finish him in the first round. I anticipate a fast start from Dulatov. I think he's going to put pressure on Adam Fugitt off rip. I think Fugitt is going to struggle with the aggressiveness. I think Dulatov's the sharper striker with clean punch combinations. And then I also think he's got more weapons too. Fugitt's all right though. I mean, he can definitely box a bit. He's got long arms. It's not like Fugitt is a complete shit can. But I think Dulatov's a pretty sharp prospect. I will say though, it's a UFC debut. And, he's fighting a guy with 4 UFC fights and a guy who's won 2 of them. It's not like Fugitt has been crumbled in 4 UFC fights, and he's down 4 straight. You know, he's coming off a win, so you got to respect it. But on the flip side, it's like Dulatov seems to have some nasty potential. Dulatov has the vibe of one to watch in the UFC welterweight division. He can win this fight by knockout, but if need be, he brings the threat of the submission for sure. And, you know, Fugitt's losses, both finished losses, he split down the center. 1 sub, 1 KO. Let's look at the scales. I think Dulatov does find a lot of strikes on the feet, but if need be in the grappling, I do think he would thrive. Looks in incredible shape here, shredded up and ready to go. Adam Fugitt, he looks excited. He looks like a stoner, heavy stoner. What does he look like? Hyde from that 70s show at like 40 years old? That's the vibe I'm getting right now. Holy shit. Maybe with a little mix of Eric in it, to be honest. Very 70s show vibe for him. Adam Fugitt just looks like, you know, genuinely, if he had a suit on, I think that he would be selling you insurance. So respect to Fugitt going against the archetype and becoming a high-stakes cage fighter and doing pretty well at it. But he's fighting a Chechen blood savage. I'm going with Chechen blood. I'm going with Islam Dulatov. I think Dulatov's going to come out hard. He's going to land big shots. He's going to make Fugitt very uncomfortable. I think he's live to win this fight by a knockout or submission. I don't think Fugitt can keep up with the pace that Dulatov is putting on him early. That's what I'm thinking. Fugitt can box a bit, and I'm sure he can land some shots, but I don't know, man. Dulatov seems game as fuck. And he's a fat favorite, which sucks, but prediction-wise, I do think he gets past the Fugitt test. But, like, I break the fight down, and it's still a fight, you know? I think there's something that happens, like, when you see odds, like we've seen a lot on this card, that are so wide, it's like, oh, this is just a squash match. No, it's still a fight. Like, Fugitt could definitely punch him with some decent shots from the distance. I'm sure that Fugitt's not going to quit on himself after getting caught with something big. I just think, you know, eventually he's going to get put away. So minus 700 Dulatov, Fugitt plus 500. The odds are terrible here, but it is what it is. Over 1.5 plus 160. Is Fugitt tough enough to go long? Dulatov has 5 first-round KOs, 5 first-round subs, and his only win outside of the first round is a second-round KO. Probably going to look to get him out early, but just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean he can't. All right, that's something. Inside distance, Dulatov is minus 375. That's no fun. Dulatov wins in round 2 is 3-1. If you think Fugitt can survive that first round, then you can fucking make some cash. Most even strike Dulatov, minus 350. Most takedowns landed Fugitt, minus 200. That's interesting. I feel like Dulatov's looking for the KO, but I don't know. Weird, right? Minus 200 for most takedowns for Fugitt. I guess if there is wrestling, more likely it's him, but then I see a counter submission. Dulatov KO or decision, minus 200. Dulatov KO or submission, minus 375. The over 30.5. I don't even know if he needs 30.5. That's the worry. That's the worry, man. Spread on Dulatov, minus 450. Finish, no action. He's not going to win this. I'm looking at the wrong one. Scorecards, no action, minus 1. Oh, my. How are you going to make money on this fucking fight? You hope that it goes to the second round, or you hope it goes over? There's nothing you really can do. Yeah, Dulatov should win inside distance. He's probably going to get a knockout, but he might get a submission. He's got submission wins on the arsenal. At the end of the day, flip a fucking coin as far as method of victory, but Dulatov should absolutely pass the Adam Fugitt test. This shouldn't be the fraud check of Dulatov or anything like that. I think he goes out and gets an impressive win. And I just got a strong oomph towards the side of Dulatov by KO. So that's the official pick here. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Ateba Gautier versus Robert Valentin. I've been picking Ateba Gautier all week, but I won't lie. Valentin's pre-weigh-in ritual he did with his bro, where they just did like a savage handshake and then some, that was pretty fucking cool. But I'm not going to pick flip based upon a fucking high T aura handshake with his boy, who's actually on The Ultimate Fighter. I'm thinking that Ateba Gautier could be a problem on the feed here. I will say, though, I have been picking Valentin a lot. I picked him against Mr. Therese Finney. I picked him against Mr. D1 Wrestler, Ryan Loader. But I can't pick him here against Ateba Gautier. Though I like Valentin's striking, and I think he's got a submission threat, he's like seriously outmatched in physicality, explosiveness, and power to like, I would say, a near terrifying degree against Ateba Gautier. I think Gautier can crack Valentin with big punches. Valentin's okay defensively, but he is a bit of like a striking wild man, which, you know, makes him available for big counter shots. And Gautier seems to have a calmness about him. I will predict, though, the side of Valentin is gotta engage in some wrestling a bit and try to drag the knockout puncher to the ground. But Gautier seems really calm. He's like a poised prospect. He has a background in Muay Thai and combat sambo. So it's like Gautier is one of those prospects where it's like, yeah, he's green, but he does come from a base of like, you know, a well-rounded martial art, like sambo specifically. Yeah, he got taken down a little bit by Naito, but then he knocked him out. And I'm assuming the grappling defense is just going to keep improving. Very heavy-handed, more patient than most guys are at 23 years of age. Seems to have like a mature calmness around his fighting style. And I feel like Ateba Gautier could land some thunderous blows on Valentin's chin. I have a bit of a conspiracy, though. And you guys can let me know if I'm crazy. Ateba Gautier, 23 years old. I don't know if I fucking believe that. Ateba Gautier looks 27, 28 at the youngest. I might be reaching. Maybe he really is 23, but I could imagine. It's like the Jose Aldo coming from the favelas of Brazil in Cameroon to come in here. Could he have changed something up? Oh, let's make myself a little, let's take a few years off. We don't want to say we're a 28-year-old prospect. We're a 23-year-old prospect. I don't know. I'm starting a conspiracy theory right now, but you'll see when we look at the face, like you can feel it. He's got this matureness about him that you don't really see at 23. Gautier's younger than me by 3 years. I don't know. Maybe. He's definitely poised for success. Gautier can crack on the feet. He's got the calm striking flow. He's got the sambo background too. Muay Thai background too. But he's got a lot of experience, right? So 23. I don't know. What am I saying? Maybe. 7-1 as a pro. Damn good prospect. There's Valentin looking shredded up and ready to fight. Definitely in shape. Definitely fun. But Ateba Gautier is a monster. There's Gautier. I don't know. Maybe he is 23. I guess he looks baby-faced from here. But in this picture, he looks fucking 40 years old. So, I don't know. It depends what angle. Maybe he really is 23 and I'm just reaching. But, like, the fucking density of the muscle and the maturity, this looks like fucking grown man shit. But, I guess 23 Cameroonian genes ain't the same as, you know, an Eastern European or something like that in Robert Valentin. Let's look at the face-off between the two savages. Let's look at the nose-to-nose, all right? The intensity is high. Gautier staring into Valentin's soul a bit. Like, look at the difference in physicality. What in the fuck, man? It's like alien gains versus, you know, martial artists. Bruh. It's like the Predator. This, I know Francis is the Predator in Ngannou, but also Gautier looks like the fucking Predator, like from the movies. And Valentin, I'll be honest, from this shot, it looks like he's shitting his pants as he's staring at this fucking Cameroonian savage. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Gautier pick. Valentin is going to need like a Rocky story type moment, somehow upsetting this terrifying prospect. Minus 560 from a betting angle, it's fucking ass. But at the end of the day, it's about picking the fight as I see it. Minus 560 for Gautier, plus 410 for the side of Valentin. Looking towards some of the other options here. Let's see what I'm working with, all right? Let's see. Let's see what I'm working with. Is there anything worth our while? Gautier by KO. Whoa! Minus 265, chat. What the fuck? It's 265. Submission plus 900. Gautier ever want to fight by sub? You got the combat sambo base. Nah, never want to fight by sub. I feel like he's live to finish. But Valentin's got some experience. Valentin's not awful. Let's look at significant strikes. Gautier, most significant strikes, minus 500. Valentin, most takedowns, minus 4. Does Valentin land over 13.5 significant strikes? I don't know why I feel yes. What's the odds? Minus 115? I say yes, over 13.5. Fuck the takedowns. Fuck the takedowns. Fuck the takedowns. Yeah, they got the spread mixed up there. Minus 9. Yeah, it's It's a wide ass line, chat. It's a wide motherfucking line, bro. Okay? It's Ateba Gautier to go out and win, probably violently, but there's like a way Valentin could try and survive early and like gas out the beast and then like attempt a third round fucking finish and comeback submission against a gassed out Gautier. Submission win for Valentin plus 700. What's third round? Valentin in round number 3 plus 1800. Valentin submission in round 3 just for the fucking DGen savages plus 4,000. Valentin survives the first 2 rounds and he gets a sub in round 3. You want to go fucking crazy? Plus 4,000. $10 makes you 400. $5 makes you 200. So I don't know. I think Gautier beats him. But, like, the odds suck, and it's his second UFC fight, and I'm also a fan of Robzilla, so it's a fuck situation to be in. Like, I like Robzilla enough to know that his submission game is legit, and if he can survive the beast early, because Gautier's athleticism alone and physical strength, like, he's going to be able to escape grappling positions, even if taken down by Valentin in round 1 and probably in most of round 2. Round 3 is where Valentin could be effective. So, like, if you're selling yourself on Valentin as a dog, I think third round finish could be his hope. We saw it against Therese Finney, too. If Gautier gasses round number 3, doesn't get Valentin out of there, that Valentin third round sub is a DGen call. Not a pick. I'm not picking Valentin. I'm going to pick Gautier, but I can see both paths to victory and obviously much more of a chance that Gautier's side ends up succeeding, but I'm a Robzilla fan, bro. It sucks. He's getting cut from the UFC, man. What the fuck? 3 down. They give him Gautier. What the hell? Doing Robzilla dirty after fun fights on Tough, man. Can they just give him a favorable matchup? Maybe third round submish. I don't know. You're a DGen. You want it? Plus 4,000. There you go. I'm going Gautier as the pick, though. Next fight, Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Veretennikov. I have been picking Francisco Prado to win this fight. I was thinking knockout, but I will tell you, seeing how good of a condition Veretennikov is in, and I feel like the confidence is high at the face-off, I see it as a pretty competitive fight. I don't know. I might be like inching towards the side of decision more so after seeing how fit Veretennikov looked. Francisco Prado is a pretty heavy puncher. He rips big shots in close range. He's a fun striker to watch. Got nasty low kicks. Also has a good submission game. Very physically strong. Tends to end up in top position, at least in the right matchups. Veretennikov's grappling kind of got exploited a bit by Vanderford, but to be fair, Vanderford was a longtime staple of Bellator's middleweight division, and he was pretty good over there. Veretennikov got destroyed from him last time. Debut, he lost a split decision to Danny Barlow, but to be fair, I also think Danny Barlow got fraud checked by my savage dog lock of Sam Patterson earlier this year. So, you know, how good is Veretennikov? Split with Barlow? I think that Prado wins. I think Prado lands bigger shots, but I could see it going all 3. Veretennikov's chin solid. Went distance with Morales on Contender. He's in shape here. I could see Prado landing the bigger shots with like more high impact, but I could still see Veretennikov having a couple moments in the fight. I think Prado could end up on top and not do a ton of damage, and like Veretennikov just tries to neutralize Prado as he's in top position, but maybe Prado drops a couple hammers and then Veretennikov uses his legs to create distance and, you know, throw some up kicks and shit and get back up to his feet. Prado doesn't have like the Austin Vanderford level of wrestling, but he does have good boxing. And he does have nice power, and he does have a lot of promise. He's at American Top Team now, which, you know, they fine-tune prospects. I think he passes the Nikolai Veretennikov test, but I guess I just think to myself with Prado, does he get him out of there? I want him to. 23-year-old gets a sick KO, but I'm leaning towards a back-and-forth brawl and a pretty fun fight. I think Prado wins the decision. So the pick is still Prado, but I might be feeling a little more decision heavy as opposed to the KO. There's Veretennikov, Kazakhstan's finest, looking shredded and ready to go. Then we got Prado. I'll be honest, he had like a sense of arrogance about him. He seems confident. I worry, though, with Prado, young prospect like this, that type of arrogance at a young age, that can lead you to a position where you overlook a really tough journeyman and end up taking it out. Because he's like, oh, I fought Jake Matthews and I made it a fight. I lost, but I made it a fight and Matthews is good. Oh, I fought Zellhuber. Zellhuber's a great prospect. All I'm saying, Prado, limit the cockiness, but I don't know if he can. And I like Prado. I'm a fan of his style. I think he's really fun to watch, but I just worry a bit about him overlooking the side of Veretennikov. I just get this aura of arrogance that comes off of him, which is like a red flag with a prospect that's 1-3. If he was 4-0 in the UFC, we're talking different. But he seems to have the same arrogance as, earlier on, but then, not great results. He still has only beaten Ottoman Azaitar in the UFC, and Azaitar is shit. Veretenikov's better. Veretennikov will fuck Azaitar up too. I'm going to say Prado decision, but I definitely see him getting tested, and I worry about overconfidence against a tough OG like Veretennikov, who's 35, comes from fucking Kazakhstan. I could see him making it a fight. My confidence in Prado has definitely dropped. If it was today I was doing most confident picks, I think I'd probably leave him out after the weigh-ins. Prado is -150, Veretennikov +130. Competitive lines here. Let's see. Over 2.5 rounds, -165. Let's see what else we got. Prado wins by KO +325. I'm thinking decision. Prado decision +150. I feel like it's going to be a back and forth banger. I'm feeling back and forth. Veretennikov, most significant strikes, +160. Prado this. What is it? Over 53 significant strikes. I feel like it's a high volume fight. I can see the over on significant strikes hitting for Prado. I don't know why I'm seeing Veretennikov 38, but he could get 43. Veretennikov spread -165. 29-28s across the board, maybe. Or even a split decision going his way. -165 for it. I mean, you could make it a close fight, but I still have to go up. Earlier in the week, I was thinking Prado might put him away, or he might win by sub. I don't know why I'm feeling like Prado's weigh-ins just gave me this vibe, and I could be wrong, but I know how to read body language, and I can recognize a certain aura of arrogance that Prado has towards Veretennikov. He's like, you're 0-2 in the UFC, but it's like, Prado, you're 1-3 in the UFC, bro. So let's hold our horses. You're a good prospect. He should win for sure, but I do think Veretennikov could give him a harder fight than he's expecting, and I just worry in those situations. Nonetheless, the pick is going to be the boxing of Prado and the striking overall to be able to get past a tough journeyman like Veretennikov. But I could see Veretennikov making this bit of a tougher fight than Prado's expecting, and maybe he finishes the fight with like a cut over his eye or something like that. It's like, oh shit, I need to start respecting these journeymen because they're still fighters too. Next fight, we got Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. I'm going with the Italian stallion. Mamma mia, here we go again. Marvin Vettori, it's time. The Italian Dream. The Italian Dream. This is the rematch. They got in a little street fight. And yeah, maybe Brendan Allen looked to have a little bit of the lead in the street fight, but it's not a full fight. It was just a little blitz, If we just watch the first, round of Allen and Mavov, you're thinking Allen wins, and then he went on to lose. I think that Marvin Vettori can stop Allen's grappling threat. I don't see Allen dragging Vettori to the ground and taking his back, and that's what Allen likes to do, is take people's backs. Vettori's a capable grappler. He competes in grappling. He's strong as fuck. And then I think about the striking. Southpaw Vettori, even though his punches, he's stiff, he's this, he's that, he still can box a bit. I think he can land some big shots on Brendan Allen's face. I think he can outbox Brendan Allen. I think Allen's better at kicking, but I don't think kicking is what separates the two. I think the hands are everything. I would rather believe in Vettori's boxing over Allen's kicking. I don't think Allen's winning the boxing match. I think it's going to be some boxing in that yellow zone. They're going to close distance. They're going to fight. We're going to see Allen try to grapple. We'll see Vettori try and grapple. Both guys might have moments. Allen could end up doing like a low IQ move and like jumping gilly, and then Vettori passes the top position and lands some ground and pound. Vettori has a better base. From top position, Vettori's going to be strong. I have a hard time seeing Allen get to top position. I have a hard time seeing Allen out-wrestling Vettori. I feel like Marvin Vettori is going to put together a good performance. I know people are thinking, oh, well, the Dolidze fight. Bro, but we got an active Vettori. He was off for almost 2 years and came back. And yeah, he went 5 rounds with Dolidze and lost a competitive decision. I actually think Dolidze would beat Brendan Allen too. And I'm thinking Vettori versus Allen. I favor Vettori, man. I like this matchup for Marvin Vettori. I think this is a winnable fight. I think Vettori can land bigger shots. I think he can have some moments. I think he can defend some takedowns. I feel like it's competitive. I think it's going to be pretty back and forth. Vettori coming into this fight with a heavy heart. His brother passed away, so rest in peace to him. It's tragic, man. I think Vettori lands more significant head strikes, and I think he's able to beat Brendan Allen in a close one, stopping the grappling attack too. I'm going against another Louisiana native, and I'm going with the Italian. I'm going with Marvin Vettori, the Italian dream, to keep the Italian dream alive. He's young. He's 31. He's still in his prime. Vettori's still improving. He's back on track, staying consistent. I think he beats a Brendan Allen here. Let's look at the scales. Brendan Allen looks confident, flexing it out with the fucking shades on. Look at that. He's about to go ride a fucking dirt bike or something like that. Vettori, I don't know. You can just feel passion coming off of him, man. He does. He's got passion coming off of him. Coming into this fight with a different mentality. He has to be. And then let's bring up the face-off between the two. You can see Vettori spitting venom. Look at it. He's got his tongue out. Look at that. That's like some Italian witchcraft he's spitting at him, bro. I'm saying he's saying a spell or something like that. I'm telling you, bro. The Italians, they into witchcraft more than you think, man. I got the Italian blood. I know my grandmother's stuff is, bro. Back in the day, what the fuck? I think he's dropping some witchcraft on him. And there's the smile there from Allen, bro. But this smile, what happens is through the witchcraft, it goes in the mouth, goes into the heart, goes into the lungs, goes into the soul. And now Brendan Allen's getting tired. He doesn't know why. He doesn't feel like himself as Vettori's pummeling him with big punches. I'm telling you, bro, I can feel the intensity off Vettori. Holy shit, though. Allen just trying to smirk at him. I'm going with Marvin Vettori to get his hand raised. I don't understand the betting lines at all. I don't get why they're so wide. I mean, I can see the argument towards Allen being a slight favorite, but why the fuck is he minus 185? And the odds have come down a bit. I mean, it was in the minus 260 range. Vettori's a plus 160 underdog. I see this fight is closer than that. I feel like minus 140, plus 120. Marvin Vettori is absolutely in this fucking fight, and the odds have come closer because it seems like there's some love for Vettori on the lines because people are like, what the fuck? That's what I'm thinking. If you're going to bet on this fight, there's one pick that I would say. It's Vettori to win, straight money line, or you could put the over 2.5 in a parlay at minus 290. I know people talk, oh, Vettori's going to come out throwing bombs. He's going to land some hard shots, but I favor decision. Vettori to win by decision is around plus 235. KO plus 1100. I don't see KO. I don't see sub plus 1100 for Vettori. So I don't see a finish for Vettori. I see a decision. He's a good decision winner. Vettori most takedowns plus 175. Vettori most significant strikes minus 140. He's expected to win the significant strike battle but get taken down. Vettori's takedown defense is good. That's interesting. Vettori spread minus 170. It's expected to be a back and forth fight. I got Vettori winning. Unless it's the hometown bias. But I think Vettori does more. I think he steals the third round. I think 1 and 2 are close. But I feel like Vettori's going to land some cleaner shots. Maybe take the second and third. I'm going with Marvin Vettori, the Italian dream, to take a W over Brendan Allen. And hopefully squash the beef after the fact. I'm going Vettori in this one. Next fight on the card. It's our featured prelim of the night. We got Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. I'm going with Lockdog. I'm going with Vinicius Oliveira. I don't see Kyler Phillips as the guy to give him his first UFC loss. I feel like Oliveira's got the makings of a top 10 contender. Oliveira's got some nice wins, back-to-back Ws against high-quality opposition. Said Nurmagomedov, who's a sharp kickboxer with dangerous submission threats and well-rounded. Ricky Simon, who's an absolute fucking pitbull. Vinicius Oliveira is a hell of a prospect right now. He's on a roll right now. And I feel like he's going to be looking to throw heavy shots at Kyler Phillips, who's looking to stay on that bicycle and move. I feel like Kyler Phillips is going to try to chop apart the legs, rip to the body, jab from the outside, and stay away from Oliveira, whereas Oliveira is going to look to walk him down and throw big shots. The issue is, I question Kyler Phillips' gas in, late round 2 into round 3. And especially taking on a powerhouse like Vinicius Oliveira, he's eventually going to be forced into the firefight. And I think Oliveira wins the battle of big shots. Oliveira also has a capable ground game. He's very explosive, has a unique striking style. I think he's going to be able to outwork Kyler Phillips in this one. I feel like he's coming out aggressive as fuck, and I see him putting together a good performance. There'll be some nice kicks from Kyler Phillips for sure, and I think he'll have some moments, but I see Vinicius Oliveira outworking him, outdogging him, outlanding him, and winning the fight. I feel like Vinicius Oliveira is just that prospect to keep an eye on. Shitloads of pro experience already, seems to have the goods, in my opinion, and a good ability to close the gap throwing bombs, but like refusal to really back up and give room. Obviously, Phillips is going to look to create space and keep Oliveira off of him, but Oliveira's relentlessness, it's a worry for me, man. What I'm seeing in my mind is Phillips trying to stay on the bicycle and Oliveira just consistently coming forward. And like staying on that bicycle all night is going to wear those legs out. You're running a fucking marathon in a fist fight too. Whereas Oliveira plodding forward, walking them down, big explosions and then big key moments. I don't think it's an easy fight. I don't think it's a walk in the park. I think Kyler's decent, but I see Vinicius Oliveira as the better fighter. I think that he's going to be able to outdog Kyler Phillips in this one. He might drag him to the ground and have a couple moments. I think he lands bigger punches. I'm sure Kyler Phillips lands some solid kicks in the fight, but I see Oliveira closing the gap and kind of smothering that Kyler Phillips kickboxing from range style. And I'm going to go towards the side of lock dog to win. I think that he pulls through. As far as the scales, let's see what we're looking at. Lock dog was excited as fuck. Lock dog was excited as fuck. Kyler Phillips with a bit of the bob haircut. Like, I was thrown off by the cut. If you squint, though, it looked almost like Guru's old haircut. But Guru, he rocks it better, to be honest. I think Kyler Phillips fumbled the bag with the cut, bro. The aura was lost. If I'm Phillips, I'm doing like a mohawk with a fucking ponytail and a braid in the back or something like that. I think he made the mistake going with the silky smooth cut. Kind of looks like he could be cutting hair himself on the side. I don't know, man. This is not a guy that fraud checks this guy. I don't see it. You don't see it either. You know, you don't see it. Nah. No. There's the face off between the two. Is high intensity. They had to pull Oliveira away. Looking into the soul of Phillips. I feel like Oliveira too. Look at the frame difference. Like, I think power, strength, grappling ability. I just see Oliveira win in all aspects of that. More of a fast twitch power hitter versus we have more like fast twitch ability, but more speed with Phillips that is about landing, but not necessarily knocking you out. I don't want to say point fighting, but it is a little more point fighting based. I think Lock Dog's going to beat him. It was interesting though. Lock Dog definitely had the IV pre-fight. You can see, look at his arm there. Now, we double checked the rules because you can see he had the IV there. If it is administered by a, official from the UFC and you get approval, you can get 100 milliliters. So, the IV gate worry that people were talking about during the watch along for the weigh-ins, he should be all right. He definitely took an IV, but I believe he was approved for it, especially with the UFC bandage. So, rehydrated Vinicius Oliveira is scarier. We're going Oliveira to win. Phillips plus 120. And then Oliveira minus 140. I'm going with the slight favorite, Vinicius Oliveira. He's also the first leg of the Lock City parlay. And I believe that he is going to come through. I see a decision over 2.5 minus 210. Oliveira to win on the card sits at plus 165. I think Vinicius Oliveira on the judges' scorecards makes sense, man. Kyler Phillips is decent. Like, I'm not trying to negate the abilities that Kyler Phillips has because he's a skillful fighter. But ultimately, I just think that Vinicius Oliveira is more of a force to be reckoned with inside of the cage. We can look at some of the other shit, but I just think, money line or parlay piece would be the A side. 53.5 significant. I say yes, it's possible at minus 115. The over on takedowns, I don't like as much. I'm saying Oliveira wins the fight. Lands more. He's got like an unorthodox defensive ability too. He doesn't get as hit as much as you would think with that unique style that he brings to the table. And his counter shots are pretty sharp. I see Oliveira thudding up Phillips with some power hits. I would just go towards money line instead of chasing anything else, or go Vinicius Oliveira in a parlay. I have him in mind. We'll talk about it at the end. Lock Dog, locking it in and getting it done. Part of the Lock City parlay too. Shout out my boy. Next fight on the card, we have our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up too. I'm going to have a sip of water. It's a summer day. All right, it's hot in Florida right now. We got Michael Johnson and Zellhuber. I'm going with Zellhuber. I'm going with Zellhuber. I will say, though, my anticipation for this fight jumped probably like 80% from their banter at the press conference. That was fun. Johnson talking to, oh, he been watching me fight, trying to talk himself into it. And like Zellhuber firing back, yeah, look how many fights you got in the UFC and you're fighting me. So obviously what I'm doing works. It was a funny moment. And I think that Michael Johnson really believes that he's on track to break into the top 15, which he needs to believe that at 39. And he's on a 2-fight winning streak. So you got to, you got to respect Michael Johnson with 30 UFC fights. I've been watching this guy since Tough 12. I watched The Ultimate Fighter that season, and I watched his entire career. And Michael Johnson is a quick-hitting southpaw. He's got a nasty straight left. He's got a decent right hook. He can rip over the top. He's a fast twitch puncher. He's really clean on the feet. But he's 39. Got a lot of miles on the car. Daniel Zellhuber is going to have a range advantage. Daniel Zellhuber also is a good boxer. He works a nice jab. He's got heavy kicks to the body. He's a pretty well-rounded fighter. I know he lost to Esteban Ribovics in the back-and-forth split decision, but Ribovics is good as fuck, too. I feel like Daniel Zellhuber is live to catch Michael Johnson with something. I could see Johnson just caught with the perfect straight and put out. Like, it's the Michael Johnson story. Beat Dustin Poirier at one point. Beat Tony Ferguson at one point. Lost to Darren Elkins. What the fuck? It's the Michael Johnson story. Gave Khabib a tough fight, on the feet at least. I think Zellhuber's going to have more moments. I think Zellhuber's going to land bigger shots. I think Zellhuber could crack Michael Johnson a bit on the feet. Johnson's chin, it's normally pretty good, but he was badly knocked out by Josh Emmett, badly knocked out by Diego Ferreira. Zellhuber's striking's clean. He hasn't showcased a knockout in the UFC, but a lot of KOs outside of the octagon. His one finish in the UFC, though, is a submission. Zellhuber's submission game is underrated. Johnson's been submitted 9 times. I could see Johnson getting caught with something and maybe engaging in wrestling, then caught in a counter submission attempt, because Zellhuber got those long arms, too. It's an interesting stylistic clash. I see Zellhuber winning. I feel like it could be a multitude of method of victories. Like, he could catch Johnson with something big. He could be able to counter, a takedown and then land a submission. But he also might put on like a decent kickboxing display and win a relatively competitive unanimous decision against Michael Johnson too. I feel like definitely a Zellhuber win coming, but Johnson's going to make it a fight. I mean, he's 23-19. He's the essence of a badass OG journeyman, but he's been on a roll as of late, 2 fights in a row. So you got to put respect on it. And that loss in 2022 to Jamie Malarkey was kind of a bad decision. So Michael Johnson's still got some fighting ability. I just think Zellhuber's going to be sharper. He's younger, definitely more primed right now, like improving at a decent rate, showing positives in the Esteban Ribovics fight, specifically the jab. Like Johnson's going to have a hard time reaching him with those power shots. Especially Johnson being such a fast twitch fighter. Like, you think at some point that's got to slow. And it's slowed a little, but it's going to consistently slow over time. And I feel like Zellhuber can land more. I'm going to say Zellhuber wins. I don't think Johnson gets destroyed early, but I do think Zellhuber is live for a KO in this one too, or a submission. There's Zellhuber. He looks like a young kid. Babyface Zellhuber, the OG Michael Johnson, holding the 4th down. Remember when he was with the Black Zillions back in the day. There's the face-off between the two. Let's look at it. Solid face-off. There was a lot of respect. Like, Zellhuber was like, oh, I respect you. They seem, very chill face-to-face. I think Zellhuber passes a Michael Johnson test. It makes sense that he'd finish Michael Johnson. Like, I don't know. The odds are really wide here, which, again, it skews the ability that Michael Johnson has. You're like, oh, well, you should get dog walked. If Zellhuber goes out and finishes a Michael Johnson, I still think that's pretty impressive. I'm going with Zellhuber to win. Am I going to stick with the finish call? I don't know, man. Minus 650 for Zellhuber. Johnson plus 475. I could see Zellhuber catching him with something and putting him out. I have a weird feeling about it, but Johnson's confidence impressed me. But that also tells me he's coming hard, ready to throw heat. Over 1.5, minus 225. Zellhuber decision plus 165. KO plus 170. Submission plus 380. Zellhuber's got a crafty submission skill set, and Johnson losing a lot of fights by sub, but I don't see Zellhuber wrestling down Michael Johnson and taking his back and strangling him, or like arm triangling him, Let's see. What else is there? Anything? Let's see. Most significant strike, Zellhuber, minus 325. Let's see what the line is. Johnson over 40. If he doesn't go out, he lands over 40. So if he can go to the final bell, I say that hits. But there is a hunch I have that Johnson does get finished, man. I don't know. It's just something that's standing out in my brain. Zellhuber, prospect on the rise. Johnson, 39. Fast twitch, Zellhuber. Showed good skills with Ribovics, but ended up losing as a favorite. And I picked Ribovics as a dog there. I think I can accurately read this fight as Zellhuber's. I think just the hard part is, does he finish it? Because he has been lacking those finishes. But like with a prospect like him at 26, at any fucking time that could all change and he could start putting people away. Maybe this is it. I don't know. Earlier in the week, I was going Zellhuber KO. I guess I'll stick with Zellhuber for the finish, but decision's not crazy. Definitely a Zellhuber win. The odds suck, but it is what it is. Next fight on the card. We have Dan Ige, Patricio Pitbull. I have been picking Dan 50K Ige all week. Even had a subscriber create a graphic with me and Ige for the 50K subscribers, 50K Ige collab. Dan Ige viewed my story on Instagram, guys, but he didn't hit me back. He didn't hit me back, bro. So he's dialed into the fight. Maybe we'll get the post-fight interview. We'll see what happens. Either way, I'm not going to let me being disappointed about that affect my fucking pick, all right? We're going with 50K. I'm 50K. He's 50K. 50K AJ, 50K Ige. Respect. He wins the fight. I think that he is going to have success with his hand speed in this fight. He was able to close distance and land big shots off of a former amateur boxer in Sean Woodson. And Sean Woodson is freaky tall and long. Patricio Pitbull is 38 years old, and he's showing signs of slowing down. He's 1-3 in his last 4, and he got his ass handed to him by Yair Rodriguez in his debut. I feel like 50K Ige is going to be able to land more significant head strikes. I think he's going to have faster hands in the fight. I think he can negate the grappling threat of Patricio Pitbull and just outwork him to a back-and-forth decision. But I think Ige lands the more significant shots and looks evidently faster than Patricio at this point. I feel like Patricio, like a little bit at this point, like stuck in the mud with his style. And I feel like 50K Ige can let the thunder fly with his hands and pop with big punch combinations and nice overhand shots, backing Patricio up and catching him with combos, headshots, body shots. I don't think Patricio's hurting Dan Ige either with punches. And I don't think he's taking him down. I think Dan Ige clears Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull, to me, looks like a blown-up bantamweight. He had made that cut to bantamweight to fight Sergio Pettis. It was back, I believe, 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago, not even. Now he's back at 45, but I swear to God, when you get to a certain age, when you cut too much weight down and like lose muscle to make a new weight class, it can inhibit your performances forthcoming. I mean, look at the physicality change of Jose Aldo in his prime versus the Jose Aldo we've seen now. He lost muscle. And it's harder to put it back on without the use of like testosterone and peptides and shit, you know? I think Dan Ige wins. I do. I think Dan Ige wins. I'm picking Ige. I think his hands are too clean. Grappling defense is on point. He's more prime than Pitbull and should have a clear-cut speed advantage. I'm going with 50K Ige to beat Patricio Pitbull on Saturday. And hopefully he'll reply to the fucking DM. There's Patricio Pitbull looking jacked as fuck. He's in great shape, but he looks like a blown-up bantamweight. There's Dan Ige looking jacked on the other side and shredded. I have an interesting take I want to mention too. So Pitbull lost muscle moving down to 135, but then put muscle back on. In a weird way, I will presume he had to put it on a way of more like bodybuilding, bulking, pushing some heavy weights. It's not like it just didn't naturally come back as easy as it would have at 31, right? I feel like he's going to be slowed down a bit. I think that's why he looks so slow against Yair Rodriguez, because of that cut down of weight, losing muscle, and then putting it back on. His body is all sporadic, and he's 38, and he's not in the same comfortability. I think the biggest mistake Pitbull will make when he looks back on his career is actually that cut to 135 pounds. It was a chase of Bellator greatness, but he's already the Bellator GOAT. And I think that it hurts the final run of his fighting career. You can let me know in the comments if you understand what I mean. But I definitely think there's like a threshold factor of muscle gain to loss and then building it back at a certain age, then not responding in the same way as you used to, because he's shown signs of slowed down striking. Intense face-off, though. Look at that. Dan Ige staring into his soul. Pitbull staring right back. You know what? I respect Dan Ige because he really seems to respect Patricio Pitbull's abilities and mentioned watching his entire Bellator career. That tells me he's even more ready for this. He's not like, I'm a UFC fighter. He's a Bellator guy. I'm just going to whoop him. He's like, no, Pitbull's an all-time great Bellator fighter. He's one of the best, if not the best featherweights to ever, come to the UFC late. One point, he was one of the best still, pound for pound. But now, I think it's Ige time. Range advantage for Ige, strike speed advantage for Ige, grappling defense for Ige. I got to go with 50K Ige to get it done. Odds for the fight, minus 220 for Danny Boy. I do think he wins. Plus 185 for Patricio Pitbull. I like the chances of Ige taking it home, and I do like the chances of a decision. Over 2.5, minus 265. Decision win for Dan Ige, sitting currently at plus 110. Ige does have KO ability. You can check it here. He's got 7 knockouts. And on the other side, Patricio Pitbull only knocked out twice as a professional. The weird Suzuki fight too. And like he showed a chin against Yair. So brain tells me Ige by decision makes the most sense. Let's see what the significant strikes look like. Most significant strikes, Ige, minus 325. Ige most takedowns. Nah, he probably wouldn't land most takedowns. Over 55.5, I say yes. I'll say yes to over 55.5 for 50K Ige. Maybe even yes to Pitbull with over 40.5. Fuck the takedowns. Fuck the spread too. I'll say 29-28s across the board for Dan Ige. Maybe a 30-27 in the mix. He should look better than Pitbull and faster and more accurate. But I do think Pitbull, could have a slightly better performance than he did against Yair. But yeah, definitely the Dan Ige fight. I'm picking him. He should pull through. Next fight. Featured fight of the night. It's also the second leg of the Lock City parlay. Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Holland is, part of the Lock City. He has to be. The odds were not as wide when I made this call. Now they have spread. Because Kevin Holland looks like a lock of locks here against Daniel Rodriguez. I really think he goes out and handles business. Holland's going to have the reach advantage, the boxing advantage, the strike speed advantage. I think even the power advantage. On top of that, he's better at jiu-jitsu. Where does Rodriguez win? He catches him with a big shot and drops Kevin Holland? I don't see it. He out-grapples Kevin Holland? Where? What is he going to do? Kevin Holland can sting up Daniel Rodriguez with multiple shots before Rodriguez lands one counter. Rodriguez doesn't have the speed for him. Rodriguez went to a split decision with Morono 2 fights ago. Now he's fighting Kevin Holland. I also think D-Raw can get caught in a submission here. I could see him maybe shooting low after getting stung, trying to clinch up, and then Holland threatening with that front headlock, jumping Darce, which is one of his signature moves. He hit it on Michael Chiesa. He hit it on Vicente Luque. He's hit it on good grapplers. Kevin Holland's going to win this fight, guys. I think it's KO or submission. I think the hands could look clean and he could put D-Rod down, but submission jumps out, man. Holland likes to use that jiu-jitsu against these strikers, and I feel like D-Rod could walk into some type of counter submission after getting caught with some shots. And to be fair, like a worst-case scenario, because D-Rod seems to have a good chin still, Holland could outstrike him for 3 rounds. Like, it could be a Kevin Holland just clearly outworking D-Rod to a unanimous decision also. That wouldn't be the craziest result. But, people are going to want odds now because the lines for Holland have spread extremely wide. But yeah, Kevin Holland should definitely win. Let's look at the scales, though. Stylistically, it's a matchup that favors him substantially. There's D-Rod. Looks all right. I mean, you can't really see the shape because he's so inked up, but he looks all right. He looks like D-Rod. I picked him as an underdog last fight, and he won by knockout, and I called it. Now he's taking on Kevin Holland, and I think he's going to get handled pretty bad. Holland looks good at 170. 2 straight wins. Looking solid in these fights, and I think on his way to a big dub. There's the face-off. Very calm, cool, collected, and respectable Kevin Holland here. Nothing too crazy. D-Rod inked up as fuck now. Look at the ink on him. Looks actually pretty badass. I got to say, man, I wouldn't go get tatted like this, but if you are going to, at least do it like D-Raw. Like, these are fucking quality tats. Look at this. Look at the fucking artwork on this man. He's a fucking savage. D-Rod's a badass motherfucker, but not against a Kevin Holland. It's a bad matchup. Kevin Holland's still primed. He's going to have a clear strike speed advantage. He's better at jiu-jitsu. I don't see him losing the fight. Minus 600 for Holland. D-Rod plus 425. I favor the side of inside distance. I feel like Holland could hurt D-Rod with a big punch and then finish him. I feel like club and sub is live. Holland by submission plus 210. I feel like I'll clench my pearls and stick with that. But KO is possible at plus 170. Inside distance for Holland is minus 160. Another fight where it's like, where most even strikes, Holland, minus 210, probably. Most takedowns, Holland? Maybe, I don't know. If they go longer, I'd say the significant strike of over 43 and a half hits, but I don't know if they will. Maybe the under on D-Rod landed, but if they do go long, he could too, but I feel like he's going to clearly get outboxed. I feel like he's going to get cracked by Holland a lot. Holland to clear the spread, minus 275 if he dominates. And I see him dominating. I do think that hits as well. I could see 30-27s or a finish, across the board. One of the two. Both seem likely. And that's why I got him as a lock city parlay piece to close it off. And yeah, the odds have spread. So if you're playing it now, unfortunately, it might not be plus 104, which it was earlier in the week. But nonetheless, the call is still the call. Kevin Holland to get it done in dominant fashion and potentially destructive fashion. He handles the D-Rod puzzle here. Co-main event of the evening. Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov. I've been picking Roman Kopylov to win all week. I believe the sharper striking game will be the ultimate difference maker between the two. And it's a Costa who I don't know where the hell his head is at. He acts like, he's tweaking out at the damn press conference. He's still physically in good shape, but his last win was against Luke Rockhold in 2022. And, it wasn't the best performance ever. He won and he busted Luke's nose up, but he looked all right. Before that, the win was before he fought Izzy against Yoel Romero years ago on a competitive decision. That Costa lore has been substantially diminished. I mean, he did land a nice kick on Rob Whittaker, went 5 rounds with Strickland. Paulo Costa, in my opinion, he's lost that aura, that oomph, that it factor. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have that same beast anymore. He's talking about Khamzat Chimaev, but I don't see it. I don't see him making a run towards the top. I don't. I feel like Paulo Costa might lose this one pretty handily to a clean kickboxer like Roman Kopylov. He's a master of sport in the hand-to-hand fighting. He's got a good striking ability, very sharp on the feet, moves really well, defensively sound in grappling. He's going to be able to land more straight punches on Costa. I think he can avoid Costa's barrages of big power shots. Then on the flip side, I think Kopylov can land some nice stinging straights on Costa as he looks to do that. I'm looking at Paulo Costa, and I'm like, yes, he does have nasty body kicks, but is he ripping these body kicks and dropping Kopylov with a body kick? That's kind of his best hope. Body work. He hasn't beaten Costa. He hasn't beaten a guy on this current roster, man. I don't know with Costa. I got a feeling that he's washed, man. Or maybe he's not washed in ability, but how serious does he take the game? I don't feel like he takes it nearly as serious as he used to. Maybe I'm wrong and he goes out, but I don't see it. I feel like Kopylov's a problem. Sharp striking, well-rounded game, very technical, a maestro of technicality. Gotta drink some water here. I'm going towards the side of Roman Kopylov to win. I'm thinking unanimous decision. I think Costa could have some moments in the fight, but I think Kopylov lands the better shots. I don't know with Costa. It's just the evidence tells me he's past his best days. Kopylov looks solid on the scale, in good shape, looks ready to go. Nose is all smushed up. Costa looks terrible in this pick, but I won't lie to you. They caught him at a bad angle. He just wasn't flexing. He looks lean. He doesn't look terrible, but he looks like he lost some muscle. He didn't. He's still in freak shape. You'll see in the side-by-side. You'll see. Actually, it's interesting, right? Costa's listed as the taller fighter, but Kopylov looks a tiny bit taller. Costa's still in good shape, though. I mean, he's got strong fucking arm build. Muscularity is there. Could he drag the fight to the ground? I don't think so. Is he going to try to drag the fight to the ground? Maybe. That could be a, aspect of his game that he needs to attempt to use here against a technical striker like Kopylov. But I think Kopylov's defensive game and grappling is good. I just don't see Paulo Costa going out and doing much. He's going to look to throw hard shots and land some wild shit, but I see him getting stung by a stiff jab, caught by a right hand. Kopylov stays moving, picks him apart from distance. Costa looks to throw the wild power shots, and Kopylov counters it, which is clean technical striking. Look at that nose of Kopylov, though. Holy shit. Nose is fucking crushed, man. I'm going with the crushed nose Kopylov to get a decision. off of Costa. It's plus 195 for Costa, minus 230 for Kopylov. I'm going towards the side of Kopylov to win. I think he can do it, man. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 170. I'll say it's live to go over 2.5. Let's see. Kopylov decision plus 100. I do think it's going distance. I do think Kopylov on the cards. Could Costa make it a competitive fight? Is the spread on Costa worth your while? Minus 150? Maybe. Maybe. Significant strikes over 70. I don't know with that. I don't know. I feel like Kopylov lands more. I feel like he lands cleaner shots. Kopylov minus 210 for more significant strikes. Not crazy about the betting side in this fight, but the analysis tells me Kopylov sharper with straight punches and technical ability. I feel as though he can negate Paulo Costa's physicality and potential grappling attempts. I also think defensively he's sound enough to avoid Costa's big blitzes. The one avenue to success for Costa could be consistent body kicks and then landing a shot that hurts Kopylov to the body. That ain't going to be easy to do because Kopylov is sound, sharp, and also can fire some nasty kicks back to the body as well. So my pick is going to be Roman Kopylov by a decision, and this could be the farewell for Costa. I don't know if they're cutting him with 3 down. I don't know, man. I think Costa don't have that same oomph anymore. I feel like Kopylov wants it more. Costa also off for a little over a year. He's been inactive. He hasn't gotten a ranked win in a fucking long time since that Yoel Romero fight, and that was in the last decade. So give me Kopylov to pull through. Next fight, main event of the evening. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier, part 3. They settle it inside of the Octagon in New Orleans for Poirier's retirement fight. BMF belt on the line. It's crazy how these guys fought in all different eras of their careers. 2012 as young prospects, right? 2019, prime Dustin Poirier chasing gold, pulls off the win for the interim belt against the reigning featherweight champ, moving up to lightweight. And now we got Max Holloway and Poirier 2025. My pick is Max Holloway this time. I think that Max Holloway is going to look sharper than he did for sure in their 2019 fight. He did have volume in that fight, but he was so outmatched in physicality. You see Poirier landing and like every shot is knocking Holloway off balance. I don't see that same version of Holloway. He was skinny fat back then. And when you go and rewatch it and then you look at his fight against Gaethje, you're like, who is this different animal? Max Holloway definitely has put on muscle tissue since that fight, and I think he's much more of a full-size lightweight now. I think it was a mistake to cut and fight at 145 against Poirier, even though he had the ability to make the limit. I do think it drained him a bit. I don't think he had to lose muscle to make that weight like Patricio Pitbull dropping to 135, but I feel as though that excess loss of fat and water had him more susceptible to power shots. And like prior to the knockout, and I picked Poirier there, and I think Poirier looked great. Holloway had some striking moments. I mean, he was able to land on Poirier. Max Holloway's a sharp boxer, man. Now, Dustin Poirier's a sharp boxer too. Prime Poirier was able to outwork Holloway and beat him. But I think this time, Holloway's still in his prime. I think Poirier might just be right outside of it, planning the retirement. This is it, 40th pro fight and the send-off for the BMF belt in New Orleans, Louisiana. I think Max Holloway is going to spoil the homecoming party. Like, it's going to be one of those back-and-forth fights where Holloway landing volume does a bit more. Poirier looking to throw big shots back, but Holloway sharper, landing some solid counters. I see straights landing. I see Poirier looking for big shots over the top, and I'm sure he'll land some. But I think Holloway looks better. I think Holloway's speed's going to be evident here. The advantage in speed is going to be evident here. The punch combinations will be better. Poirier will land big shots at points, but I think Holloway can sting him back this time and hold his ground more so it doesn't get bullied like their second fight. I think third time's a charm for Max Holloway. And I feel like he's primed. And you know what? The Gaethje win was sensational for Holloway. Drops back down, did okay with Poirier. Now he's fighting a Poirier who went, to the later stages with Islam, Rocky-style performance where he gave a dog-tough fight for sure. But I do feel as though people over-exaggerate just how close that fight was. I thought Islam was winning the striking exchanges in the matchup. Poirier's defensive grappling looked sound. Islam also, he had the staph infection before that fight, which, no excuses, whatever, but that's analysis. Fight prior to taking on Makhachev for Poirier, he was getting pushed to the breaking point against BSD on the ground and getting bullied a bit. Granted, on the feet, he ends up knocking him out. But Poirier, he gets a little wild and nasty, which it's effective and it can land. But like, I got a precision striker in Max. If you delete their previous fights from your mind and just look at today on what they've done recently, I think you have to pick Max Holloway, and that's why I'm doing so. Now, of course, you could argue, well, Poirier's just always been the kryptonite. He got Holloway in the UFC debut for Holloway, and now he's fighting him in the farewell fight, and you could, say he'll get him too. Now, I think Holloway gets this one. I think he gets his get back and sends Poirier into an ever so slightly salty retirement. I don't think he'll be salty about it. I think there's going to be really good moments for both guys. I see it as a back and forth barn burner where they swing till the final bell. They'll sit in the center and just exchange bombs to close out Poirier's career. But I think Max Holloway is going to have done more over the 25 minutes and enough so to pull off a well-deserved decision. 48-47 is what I'm thinking, maybe 49-46. I see Poirier having moments in the fight, but I think Holloway going to look quicker and land more in the fight. I'm going to pick Max Holloway to win by a decision against Dustin Poirier this time. And I just think he's a little sharper than this version of Poirier. Little sharper. Fight before that Benoit Saint-Denis won. The Gaethje knockout. Granted, he looked good in the first round with Gaethje, but then round 2 just knocked out violently with the high kick. I'm going to say Max Holloway does enough to win, and I'm picking him by a decision. Let's look at the scales, though. Let's feel the energy. Poirier's final go. Poirier seems to be in the best shape of his motherfucking life. His waist looks smaller than ever. He's never had a waist this small. This is shredded to the fucking gills, Poirier. My God. He looks ripped, man. He joked around about post-fight starting to steroids, man. Holy shit. Post-fight starting the roid. It looks like he's starting now. Not saying he really is, but he looks jacked as fuck. Holloway looks good on the scales too, but Poirier wins the battle of the fucking weigh-ins, bro. Holy shit. Poirier looks crazy. Poirier looks crazy. They testing for peptides? They testing for some fucking, some peptides? Holy shit. There's the face-off. Poirier's face a little more sunken in than Holloway's. I feel like Holloway looks pretty solid, though. A little bit more of a height edge for Holloway, but you can see what I'm saying. The frame of Holloway is not the same as the second or first time that they fought. Things are different this time. I see Holloway getting this one. I feel like he TKO Poirier at home with the hand speed, catches Poirier with some thunderous shots, puts volume on him, and ends up putting him away. That would be like a Poirier way to go out, wouldn't it? I'm going with Holloway to win. There's a chance of a finish here, and there's definitely a chance of entertainment and savage violence. I think this is going to be a badass fight, and it's a highly anticipated BMF fight. I get it, the BMF gimmick and whatnot, but nonetheless, this fight is badass as fuck between two guys that are some of the best in the lightweight division, and for Max Holloway, featherweight division too. Minus 135 for Holloway, plus 115 for Poirier. You'd have to imagine, though, if Poirier wins impressively, like, would he actually stick to the retirement or would he not call out to Poirier? He's going to have to, though, because they probably got the post-fight montage and everything. Something tells me we're going to see Max get it done this time. Now, chase and odds in this one, yo, I want to sit on the sidelines and chill. If I had to bet, I'm going Holloway. If I had to bet, you go Holloway straight. You want to go KO Holloway, it's plus 385. Good luck to you. I think it's going to be a fucking war. Maybe the significant strikes is what you call here. Holloway, more significant strikes, minus 210. He's a slight favorite as well. I do think he lands more significant strikes. Per round, fuck all that. 147. That's what we got to touch. I mean, I think it could go over 147 significant, but fuck, to sweat that? 118 for Poirier, another one. It could, but to sweat that? Spread on Dustin Poirier to make it competitive is minus 190. I mean, it could be live. I don't know, man. Main event here, I'm picking Holloway down the center. I think Holloway can win a decision. I think you can land more significant strikes. Maybe, you pick him for the significant strike win. But picking the method is probably a decision. I'm going to favor the decision side because I do think Poirier can eat some of Holloway's best shots. And I think that Holloway can also still eat some of Poirier's and actually have less of a reaction than he did in their previous matchup. So I am going to pick the favorite. saying Holloway does a bit more. I'm going to stick with the decision, but like there's a possibility of a third round TKO and a big barrage by Holloway. Poirier, final go, slow down a bit, hard camp, looking in the best shape of his life, but maybe overtrained a bit for this spot. And then Holloway ends up upsetting him there. I mean, granted, Holloway's the favorite with the odds, but he feels like the underdog because he's down 2-0 against Poirier. So fuck the lines. The pick is Max Holloway. I think he wins the main event in a sensational back and forth war. And the BMF title doesn't get retired with Dustin Poirier if Holloway wins. So we'll see what's next. Because if Poirier retires with it, like I could see the UFC doing away with it after a lot of criticism. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they changed their mind. But definitely an interesting thought. I'm going to say that this time Holloway can do it. Years and years later, Max Holloway gets one over on Dustin Poirier and pulls through. We're going to go with Max to win the main event. And those are the predictions for UFC 318. It's a hell of a show. Ton of fights, but we're not done yet. We got to do parlays, all right? So are the parlays that I'm confident in, we're sticking with, are we still riding? Do I think it happens? Holland sub, Crute sub, Spann inside distance. You could switch that to Crute inside distance because you could get the KO. Lock City, Holland, and Oliveira, 2 thumbs up from me. I'm very excited for that. All right, I'm feeling good about that. Holland, Oliveira, Allen Vettori over plus 176. I love that, even after the fact. Oliveira, Prado, a little less hype about. Holland, Oliveira, Vettori, plus 461. Going doggy style. I think it hits. I think the parlays are cooking. Holland and Ige's over, minus 151. Safe but boring is on the money. The Allen, Vettori over 2.5, and Ige, Pip over 2.5, minus 119. It seems like a golden fucking goose. It seems like it should hit, man. I like what I'm calling, man. Savage, Degen, Holland, Oliveira, Crute, Spann, Vettori, Prado, and Ige. The worry is Prado being overconfident, but I do think he wins in a more competitive fight than he's expecting. But, you know, you have to worry with guys that seem to be in that mentality. You know, the arrogance is high on him just a bit. He's giving me arrogant vibes, man. That's how I'm feeling about Prado. Now, real quick, I want to concoct a little something. I'm actually pissed off. Best Fight Odds doesn't have their usual parlay slate, so I got to use different means, which just makes things more annoying. But real quick, post weigh-in, I do think Superman Spann goes out and handles. I do think Kevin Holland goes out and handles. And I also think Dan Ige is very live to go out and handle. Plus 138 for a little alternate parlay action if you want to throw something different down. Maybe you don't want to touch what's already been talked about. If you like Vettori to win, you could throw him in as a dog. Now you got plus 518. And if you believe in Vinicius Oliveira at minus 140, you can hit that. It brings you to plus 959. Minus. Anything else calling my name here? Anything else need to be touched? Bana, 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 bana. Bana, 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 bana. The ladies to go over 2.5. Caliari, Judice. Now you're at plus 1,440. So a little post-weigh-in D-gen shit real quick. Spann, Holland, Ige, Vettori, Oliveira over in the ladies fight to start off the card. But I like everything I wrote down. Really, Prado worries me a bit with his arrogance. I think Oliveira, Holland pulled through for Lock City. I'm feeling real good about that. The calls are the calls, and I'm always confident in what I ride with, all right? UFC 318. I hope you guys enjoyed the weigh-in recap show. I'm feeling like $1 million, man. I'm loose and limber. Join me for the Fight Companions, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be live for the entire card, so don't miss it. I love you all. W to the community. Drop a W in the comments if you got nothing to say, but definitely let me know in the comments what you think of the picks down below. I want to hear from the people, man. I want to hear from the masses. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Welcome to the channel if you're new to it. And thank you guys for the endless support. I'm really blessed, man. 50,000. I'm so grateful. Thank you guys. For real. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Shout out to the people. 50K AJ up in here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all later. Much love. Good night. Peace out.